In 2018, the Netherlands, a nation that had played in 3 World Cup finals, watched the tournament on television. How did one of football's greatest nations fail to qualify? This is Dutch football's darkest chapter and the rebuild that followed. Qualifying for the 2018 World Cup meant running a gauntlet through UEFA Group A, a field that offered no easy passage. The Netherlands faced 5 rivals: France, Sweden, Bulgaria, Belarus, and Luxembourg. Each brought its own challenge, but 2 stood out as the true barriers. France, the reigning powerhouse, carried a squad packed with world-class talent and a recent history of deep tournament runs. Sweden, while less glamorous, had a reputation for tactical discipline and a knack for grinding out results. Bulgaria, Belarus, and Luxembourg rounded out the group, each capable of stealing points but not expected to control the race. 10 matches would decide which nation would earn a direct ticket to Russia and which would be left chasing shadows. The Dutch, with their tradition and pedigree, were expected to lead the charge. But as the campaign unfolded, the contest narrowed to a 3-way fight, with France and Sweden setting a relentless pace at the top. The group's composition meant that every slip, every dropped point could prove fatal. For a nation accustomed to being the hunter, the Netherlands were about to find themselves in the unfamiliar position of being hunted and ultimately left behind. 19 points. That was the final tally for both the Netherlands and Sweden at the close of Group A. Yet the scoreboard drew a hard line between hope and heartbreak. Sweden advanced not because they earned more points, but because their goal difference stood at plus 17. The Dutch finished with plus 9. The gap was 8 goals, an unforgiving gulf that statistics alone could not bridge. UEFA's tiebreaker rules made it clear: when points are equal, goal difference decides who survives. For the Netherlands, every missed opportunity, every late concession, every wasted chance across 10 matches accumulated into that single brutal number. On the final night in Amsterdam, even a 2-0 victory over Sweden felt hollow. The Dutch needed 7 more goals just to force a tie in goal difference, and 8 to truly surpass their rivals. Instead, the campaign ended with the Orange staring at the scoreboard, knowing mathematics, not fate, had closed the door. The numbers did not lie. They revealed exactly how far the team had fallen. Guus Hiddink's resignation on June 29, 2015, was the first crack in the Dutch foundation. Danny Blind took over as head coach just a month later, but his tenure was a storm of uncertainty. Over less than 2 years, Blind cycled through formations and philosophies, searching for consistency that never arrived. The 2-0 defeat to Bulgaria on March 25, 2017, was the breaking point. 1 day later, Blind was dismissed, leaving players and staff adrift in the middle of a critical campaign. The KNVB turned to Dick Advocaat, appointing him interim manager on May 9, 2017. Advocaat's mandate was short and urgent to salvage what was left. 3 coaches in 2 years left the squad caught between conflicting instructions and shifting expectations. Tactical plans changed with each new arrival, and the lack of continuity seeped onto the pitch. Confusion and fatigue replaced confidence. In the end, points slipped away, not only through missed chances, but through the chaos on the touchline. On the pitch, the Netherlands looked like a team caught between 2 worlds. The veterans who had carried the nation to the 2010 World Cup final, names like Robben, Sneijder, Van Persie, and Huntelaar, were now deep into their 30s. Their legs could no longer chase every lost cause, and their bodies struggled to match the tempo demanded by relentless opponents. At the same time, the next wave of Dutch talent was nowhere near ready to take over. Years of reduced academy funding in the early 2010s had left the pipeline thin, with too few young players breaking through to the senior squad. The result was a side that lacked both the sharpness of youth and the stamina of a true golden generation. Matches often slipped away in the final minutes, not just from tactical confusion, but from tired legs and minds. Every missed sprint, every late challenge, pointed to a deeper problem, one that no formation or coaching change could solve overnight. Arjen Robben stood alone on the Amsterdam pitch, the night air heavy with the weight of everything lost. He scored both goals in a 2-0 win over Sweden, first a penalty in the 16th minute, then a curling strike in the 78th minute. But the margin was nowhere near enough. The stadium's applause rang hollow, unable to fill the gap left by a vanished World Cup dream. After the final whistle, Robben's voice broke as he spoke. "It hasn't been an easy decision, but I am 33 and now must give my full focus to my club." With those words, a golden era ended. The tears and silence in Amsterdam were more than just the end of a match. They were the final chapter for a generation, and a call for Dutch football to start over. Ronald Koeman arrived in February 2018, carrying the weight of national expectation and a mandate to rebuild from the ground up. He set out a new blueprint, prioritizing structure and a renewed faith in youth. Within months, fresh faces like Frenkie de Jong, Matthijs de Ligt, and Cody Gakpo stepped onto the international stage, bringing energy and clarity where confusion once reigned. By the summer of 2019, the Netherlands reached the UEFA Nations League final, proof that a new era had begun. The pain of missing Russia became the foundation for a stronger, more unified Orange, one built to last. Subscribe for more stories that reveal the heart of the beautiful game. In Dutch football's darkest chapter, collapse forced change. Without the pain of 2018, today's resurgence and tomorrow's hope would not exist. Even legends must rebuild. Subscribe for more football stories.